Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a Defender 2.2 in for tuning. Right, so this one is actually an urban built truck, and it's been tuned by quite a few different tuners, and sadly the owners of this one have never really been happy with the way it's delivered. For one reason or another, it's sort of been passed from pillar to post, and it's ended up at Alive. Sadly, it should have come here to begin with, but anyway, we're going to fix all of that today. First things first is, let's not really go jumping in, blaming the tuner. Let's do some diagnostics. Let's make sure the fuel system's okay, the turbo's working correctly. Let's make sure the DPF is working correctly. So it has all of its original emissions controls still on it. It's a completely standard 2.2. So we'll just have a quick look at the engine here, and I'll show you what it's a very clean, a very clean Defender, this one. Heavy bonnet, so yeah, completely original stock airbox. DPF is in place still. Let's just pop the bonnet prop up. Cool. That was tight. Right, have a look. EGR is still present. Down the back there, the customer actually fitted a new EGR on it himself, and yeah, we had a little chuckle earlier on about how difficult those are to change, so you can see it's nice and clean there. So as always, big fan of keeping emissions controls devices in place. Let's try and save the planet, eh? And let's not try and make a stinking mess. Smoke from these Defenders, yeah, it's got its own place. There's a time and a place, but for a stage 1 remap like what this one's going to be having today, there's no excuse for smoke. So yeah, very nice looking Defender. Styled exactly the way I would probably do one, certainly if it was a Puma. Nice interior as well. Lovely wheel. So right, let's just run a few health checks on this one, and we'll make a bit of noise. So current scenario is the customer believes that the vehicle had been remapped back to standard. So let's see if we can make some standard horsepower figures. Right, so today you get to see things how I see them. Just need to prepare a few things here before we go any further. Brakes off the dyno. And just start moving the vehicle. I do wish they used the manufacturer's logos on this. I really do. But they don't. But it is a good piece of kit. No code, so that's a good start. So have a look at some live data. DPF fitted. Yeah. Right, let's have a look at some data. Have a look. We'll log those parameters. Oh, what the hell's that? Right, so put these in graph form. get the dyno synced. So the only thing we're using the camera at this, you can't see where it's pointing, so hopefully everything here is good. So 100% load on the dyno, start time will set that 50. Diesel turbo manual, no slip, 4-wheel drive, we'll have a 200 horsepower scale, 5,000 RPM limit, and we'll go on stock. No, we'll put the rotating mass at 60 kilos per axle instead of stock, which is 50. These are large wheels and tyres. So just syncing the dyno in 5th now. So we'll sync the dyno at 3,000 RPM. So happy with that, happy with everything I have seen on the diagnostics as well. So using Autel to log some information here today. It's actually quite a, it's got a decent speed, refresh rate as well, so when I've performed a run I can press freeze and I can select, I can go through the log just to see how the vehicle, the data sort of showed as well. So right, let's do our first run. So expecting around 120, 122 horsepower and about 320 Newton meters. That's what she should make as a standard vehicle. So here we go. So in 5th gear now, and full throttle. So that's not a standard well. It's made more than stock. It's very hot on the air intakes, 70 degrees C. I mean, that is why we do like to see a larger intercooler on these, especially when tuning past stage 1. So hitting around just, where are we? It did make stock boost pressure. So I can see the maximum it made is 2.55 kPa, which is just over a bar and a half. So probably run a bit more fan on this one, just to help with temps for the next couple of runs. But 135.9 horsepower. 331 Newton meters of torque. So we'll do another run, we'll back that up, see where it is. I mean, sometimes you get one with a standard map and they do make a bit more than factory, but that does seem a bit high on the horsepower. I'll save that run, we'll do another one, make sure it's repeatable, we'll go ahead then and read the ECU, make sure it is stock. If it's not stock, we'll flash it back to stock and do some runs, but either way, it doesn't seem to be performing badly. I mean, the temps are a bit high on the intake, but I can cure that with a bit more fan. I mean, that doesn't change the fact that it's got a standard intercooler on it, but yeah, it is what it is. It is, well, it's summer, it's supposed to be summertime anyway. It's a little bit humid today, so humidity, I'll show you. Humidity, let's have a look at humidity for a minute before I do another run. Oh, 77.1%. So it could be why those why those temperatures are a bit high. So save this. Right, so I am ready for another run, but what I will do, instead of looking at the dynograph, I'll allow you folk to have a look at the logger. So let's clear the data. So power wise, yeah, a little difference in the torque between the two runs, but 10 Newton meters. Save that. There's a little bit of difference at the bottom there. The data looks alright. Getting quite warm, like I say, I will run a bit more fan on it just to help it a little. Now, if you're wondering what how this one would cool with an ultimate intercooler on it, one of our lovely intercoolers, that would, them 70 degrees temps, that'd be about 30. Our intercoolers are mega, and we use them on Pumas, we use them on TD5s, we use them on cars that make 300 plus horsepower on TD5s. So yeah, our intercoolers are chuffing good. So I'm just sitting here for a minute, just allow the vehicle to cool a bit, oil temps, stuff like that, let it come back down again. Happy really with what I've seen there. So we'll go ahead with reading the ECU next. So that is the Alive remap in place. Pop that away and let's get on with some testing. So let's just simplify some of the graphs that we've got on the screen here, just to show you where we ended up. So let's get a shot of the background. And so yeah, it was a standard map on this one. We've just checked it, Gary's just confirmed it. So a standard map actually made 136 horsepower and 320 Newton meters on that run. Made a little bit more torque on the first run, but about the same sort of horsepower. So yeah, you can, we have seen the odd Puma make a bit more than what, you know, what Land Rovers say they will make, but a bit of a wobbly torque curve. You can see the factory mapping trying to limit what's going on there. So let's get on with with testing the mapping on this one. And our aim is to beat that lot. So stage 1, so we're going to be making a good amount of torque, around the 400 Newton meters of torque, 380 to 400 Newton meters, and around 160 horsepower. It really is where it should be for a good stage 1. Take you, I need you. Right. So yeah, I thought I'd give it a go with a different camera today. A GoPro. Got some new mics. They're not new, but it's the first time I've used one of these mics, so hopefully the audio comes okay, across okay. There's nothing worse than trying to watch a video and not being able to hear the person on the video. So just need to wake up the logger. Go back in. Oh, plug in the scanner as well, that'd help. Be right back. So just making sure the coolant temperature is okay for this as well. So it's been parked for a little while whilst we've been doing the mapping. And we'll do some runs. And what I will do, I'll load up in the background the last run that this one did. And then we'll be power testing, and what you'll be looking at is power at the wheels. So this is a chassis dyno. It measures power at the wheels. It records drag, and then using the drag, it's added to the power at the wheels, which gives you your horsepower, and then torque is calculated from that as well. So that's what you'll see. That's how it'll work. Load up now in the background the previous run, get the logger going. That's running away nicely, so yeah, all good. In 5th gear now, full throttle. So yeah, all right, that's quite strong. That's done very well. So 171 horsepower and 420 Newton meters. Yeah, that's a bit of a big one. So this one did make more than standard power with a standard map. So we've got a strong one here. Just looking at fuel pressure, just to make sure it's not abnormally high. And it all looks really good. Absolutely fine. Happy with the pressures. So, do you know, I'd really like to see this one with the stage 2 mapping and an uprated intercooler. But yeah, that one's done really well. I'll save that run. We'll do another run as well, just to make sure that those power figures are not a one-off and that we can repeat them. so run number 2. So again, yeah, really consistent, and 171 horsepower again, and 420 newton meters. So this is a very strong 2.2 Defender. I can't wait for the road test. This one's going to fly. Right then, who wants to go for a road test in a 2.2 with 171 brake and 420 newton meters? Me. So let's do that. Let's go for a road test. So originally the customer was complaining that the car was kangarooing at low speeds. If you've got a Puma, a Puma 2.2, they do, with a standard map on them, they do kangaroo. If you're crawling in traffic, if you're in first gear, even in second gear, if you're just on the throttle just ever so gently, they do kangaroo. So let's put the AC on. It's a bit sweaty today. Sounded disgusting, didn't it? Right. So busy outside as usual. A couple of our vehicles. Just a quick one, right? This is important, okay? Right. See these two trucks. If you're a fan of the channel and if you're interested in buying a live tuning suspension or mapping, these two are demonstrators. There's a 320 horsepower 90, it's ridiculous. If you're ever in the area, you fancy a go, want to know what it's all about, you're interested in tuning, want to see how good we are at what we do, that is bloody awesome. It also has our comfort suspension on it, so does the 110. The 110 has one of our smaller GTB VNT turbos, which are great for an all-round workhorse or daily driver, where you don't want masses and masses of power, but you do want really good throttle response. So we can demonstrate in either the 110 or the 90. So, and if you're interested in a Remap Freelander 2, we have one of them as well. So, yeah, that's that. So let's turn the AC off now. Hopefully I've got the camera at the right angle, otherwise this would be a waste of time. So it should give a good perspective of what it's like in the real world driving one of these remapped Defenders, Remap 2.2. So that was second gear, easy as that. Not using a lot of throttle, just sort of driving it normally really, but it's delivering great. loads of torque, absolutely loads of torque, more than you could probably ask for. So again, we're in second gear, just a demonstration of how much sort of torque this has got. Second gear, just like that. Didn't barely slip the clutch, didn't use a lot of revs. What's first gear anyway? Who wants first gear? So we'll head to the bypass and do a couple of little pulls up the bypass. We'll respect the speed limit. To say I race a car, all the lads absolutely rip the hell out of me for driving slow. I'm that annoying driver that does 45 in a 60. I know, maybe you wouldn't have thought that, but that is me, like pottering along in my BMW. Yeah. You know what, going fast for when it's needed. I don't know how to describe that, but yeah, when it's worth it. So third gear. Oh, and there's something in front of us. Bear with me.
Eventually.
Give it a pull up the hill here. So third gear, full throttle. Whoa. And that's 60, just like that. Very easily done. So that's 60. That's 60 working the gears. Just come back in lane here. On the next roundabout, what I will demonstrate is what it's like getting up to 60 without working the gears too hard. Right, so I'm going to pull out this roundabout, and rather than work the gearbox, I'm going to leave it in fourth. So we're doing 1,000 RPM, 20 mile an hour at the minute, and go full throttle now. If you watch the speedo, it's lovely that. Super. Let me know in the comments if you're enjoying the first person perspective view. If you're not, let me know. And we'll go back to using the other style of cameras. Selfie style, video selfie. So pulling up this hill now, absolutely effortless in sixth. Still doing 60. I might be 20% on the throttle pedal, something like 20%, not a lot. So again, very capable of pulling 60 miles per hour up the hill. Yeah, working the gearbox a little bit, but I'm not thrashing the car. So these Pumas, they do need a little bit of help with regards to, you know, remap. It does help bring the power and performance up to like a modern sort of standards of a normal car. You can almost in a Defender 2.2 or even 2.4 or even a TD5, a standard one, you can feel a little bit of a burden, a little bit of a, you know, you're holding up traffic or whatever sometimes maybe. But yeah, with a remap, they really do switch on nicely. And the remap, it'll give you the confidence to overtake that car, or to, you know, or to pull out of a junction, and you know, just with more confidence, and just the way the power is delivered. If you've never had a remapped Defender of any sort of breed, highly recommend it. like I say, we do have demonstrators. I mean, our demonstrator vehicles are a bit more than, you know, a stage 1 at 90. Stage 1 300 brake. But you can come to a live and you can get the gist of it. You really can. And if you can't come to a live, there are lots of dealers that we've got throughout the UK. Let's put a map up. And yeah, you see all those dealers. Any of them dealers can do you a remap on a 2.2. Any of them. Okay? So, if you can't get to a live, love to meet you. I mean, obviously our dealers don't have the dyno, but if you want the remap, you can get your remap through one of our dealers. So yeah, without the need to travel. How convenient is that? Nice little Mini. Hello Mini, thank you. Right then, that was 171 horsepower and 420 Newton meters. Textbook delivery. That smooth as anything, you know? Yeah, that's what we're about. Anyway, that is bringing us to the end of the video. Well, that is the end of the video. That was a morning with Stu, so I've got a 2.4 Defender to tune next. Will that be on the channel? Well, if you like and you subscribe, you'll find out without missing a video. So last but not least, something I do with these Land Rovers, and it's not to rip on the car. How much oil did it leave on the dyno? So this was a 2015 2.2 Defender, 50,000 miles. How much oil on the dyno did this one leave? None. Yeah, very, very nice. Right, I'm Stu, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheerio.